Hi, OJ here. Welcome to OJ Trades. We're going over the FTI Performance Manual. We're in Module 2. We're going back to the last two chapters in Module 2, Chapter 9 and Chapter 10. Let's dive in. Chapter 9, it says, thinking before clicking. Every click is a business decision. Treat it with the seriousness it deserves. Exactly. Most of us, we just click buy and sell in the market without thinking, what's the repercussion of clicking this buy and sell? No reasonable decisions behind those clickings. We think it's just buying and selling. No, we should treat every clicking, buying or selling as a business decision. We'll say it's a business expenditure, if you want to say it that way, so that you take it more seriously. Because at the end of the day, you are spending money. See, like approving every business spending, every click deserves a sound business case rather than a feeling. It's as simple as that. Every trade is a proposal. Treat each setup as a proposal reviewed by your discipline, risk management, psychology, experience, and trading system. Which proposals are rejected? Remember that, like we said in the previous chapters, your job is to say no in the market. Always be ready to say no. See the market as a proposal. The market is giving you a setup. Then you run it back into your system and say, is this within my risk management? Is this within my system? Is it within my game plan? Is this within my entire operating system? If it's all weak, if the boxes are not ticked enough, you reject. It's as simple as that. Then you move on and wait for another opportunity because there's always opportunity in the market. An opportunity does not mean that you need to act on it immediately. It has to match with your trading operating system for you to execute. It's a game of probabilities. Tip as much probability to your favor. You always win. The difference between hope and evidence. Professionals trade evidence supported by structure and confirmation, not hope or wishes. You don't wish or hope. Even when you're writing your game plans, don't say, I wish or I hope. No. When price gets to a certain level, I want price to show me that it's going to do this or that. Be more specific in your game plans. Use appropriate words, not hoping, I wish, I would, no. Should I, would I, no. This or that. Simple as that. Then it says here, always have a professional pause. Remove your hand from the mouse. Take one breath or ask whether you are responding to the market or reacting to your emotion. Yes. Price, especially people who trade, you're trading like more volatile markets where you see price moving too fast. All you have to do is take a pause, you take a breath, you move your hand from the desk. Just ask yourself questions like, am I reacting or is this am I responding to the market or reacting out of emotions? When you get the answer to that, you know how to execute well. I'm going to leave you this closing reflection on chapter 9. Better thinking leads to better decisions, stronger habits, and ultimately a stronger trading identity. Remember, it's all about identity. When we started this episodes, it's all about identity. Trying to change who you are at the core level. Changing who you are at the core level is the thing we are working towards to. All these are attributes to who you are becoming and who you want to be. So better thinking leads to better decisions, stronger habits, ultimately a stronger trading identity, which we are trying to build. Here comes the end of chapter 9. Get the book and follow up on it more. Let's dive into chapter 10. Chapter 10 says, raising your standards. Your life rarely rises above your standards, neither does your trading. Like let's say you don't rise to the level of your goals, you rise to the level of your habits, you see, which are standards. So your standard is up here and your life is here. You always meet up with your standard. If your standard is down here, if your standard is down and your goals are and your life is up here, you always come down to meet your standards. If you want to become a very healthy person and you're not eating healthy, you become an healthy person. Because if being healthy in your head, you're already thinking, yes, it's a goal. But if you eat healthy, you eventually become a healthy person. If you work out, you actually become a healthy person. Same as a trade. If you want to become a profitable trader, you need to do the boring work. You need to take it serious. You need to journal. You need to, manage risk. You need to make better decisions. You need to know how to say no. You need to have an identity change. You need to be more patient, so on and so forth. Identity change. So you rise to the level of your standard. You are rising to the level of your standard, not to the level of your desires or goals. Your standards determine how far you can go with your goals. It says here, the invincible ceiling. Your consistency is limited by the behaviors you tolerate. High standards raises that ceiling. Exactly. You want to become maybe if you want to be funded $1 million or $2 million, and you're still struggling with maintaining a 50K account because you're indisciplined, and you think, oh, maybe when I get to $1 million, I'll have more. This no. If you cannot maintain a certain level of discipline on a small level of account, you can't still maintain that. Even it will be more harder because more emotions are involved. But with your standards being more high, if you want to achieve more things in life, you want to achieve more things in trading, always raise your standards. Not even the goals itself, remember. Yes, anybody can think of having 1 million or 10 million or so amount of money or so. Raising your standards is what gets you to a certain point. So always raise your standards, and it's selling is just the beginning. You see the standard, I don't have many standards here in the trading. Say the standard of preparation. Preparation is a professional obligation, not an optional activity. The standard of risk. Capital deserves respect because it creates future opportunity. Protect it relentlessly. Protect your capital at all costs so that you come back tomorrow. It's like if it's the best is the future. If you blow your account today, you don't trade tomorrow. Always protect the capital. Have a standard of conduct too. Professional conduct after wins and losses shapes your long-term reputation. If you're winning, have a standard of conduct. What am I learning from this? How do I maintain this? How do I not be overconfident? You mark all those things. When you're in losses, what did I learn from this loss? How do I prevent this loss from happening to me twice? Those are the standard of conduct when it comes to having a good conduct in the market. Now, it says here, uh, standard creates identity. You see where the standard and identity merge together. Your identity, who you're trying to become or who you are, and your standards. This is where it comes together. Because your standards will eventually create who you are. People eventually recognize disciplined traders by their standards long before their profits. Like we said, before the blown accounts, you've made so many bad decisions. There have been a decision capital depletion before the blown accounts. Before it hits your account, that was the mental or decision depletion. That you made so many bad decisions that led to that moment. So the profit or loss is the outlook. It's just the outside thing people see. But inner work is what you yourself see, which is where the real win is. It's as simple as that. People eventually recognize disciplined traders by their standards long before their profits. That's what I'm going to leave with. Get this book, follow it as a manual, refer to it, read it, you know. There are also reflection exercises in the book that you can use. This is the end of module 2. By next week, or sorry, by tomorrow, not next week. From tomorrow, we'll be diving into module 3, so on and so forth. Thanks for tuning in. Endeavor to try, like and subscribe. If you need the book or the ebook, use the link in one of my accounts. Like when you go to IG or TikTok, anywhere, use the link in my bio and get the ebook. See you guys.